knew just what Marcia said, which is the Western woman is going to be at the forefront of changing the destiny of this planet, changing the consciousness of this planet. And so, even as I sit in a room like this together, because of the way that women learn, we're already taking in a massive amount of information from each other's nervous systems, just sitting in a room together. And so this is something that I love about the women's work, because women learn very subtly from each other. So each one of us has a very unique gift and unique kind of take on the kaleidoscope of being a woman, and just by sitting in a room together, we're getting a transmission of those unique frequencies, even if we did nothing else, which is pretty amazing. You can feel it's, for thousands of years the women came together and the men came together, and there was an honoring and a creating space for the polarity, so that when we got back together, that electricity or that magnetism was something that was respected and could be played with. And now we're in a situation in the world where we oftentimes have to live with our significant others, which is such a drag. I'm not into it. I really think women should live together, men should live together, and then we come together when necessary, when we want to. But but we're in this thing where we have to do that for the most part, and so we're householders. We don't go in this lineage. We don't go into retreat. We don't go and we don't meditate for 30 years in caves, even though it's a beautiful part of the Tibetan Buddhist lineage. We want to connect with our daily life. So our greatest yogic tasks are our householder tasks. Isn't that true? Because to really go through a life, a daily life in a way that is, I was talking about this morning in class, which is, it's not some fakey fake joy, but like really an experience of the phenomenal world that, we get to be here and we get to be with each other. I was at the beach yesterday. They were laughing at me because I'm busy and I don't get out much, so I'm a really cheap date. And so they took me to it's like the handlers. They took me to the ocean yesterday, and I was standing there and I was looking around and I was like, this is like beautiful. All these people, and they're all like, and it's so kind of messy, and like everyone's up to all sorts of strange things, and but this is the world, and a lot of times when we get on a spiritual path, there's a kind of thing, I hear it a lot, where people are like, oh, now that I'm meditating, I really can't stand the people I work with now. I'm just like, I don't belong there because I'm, that one. It's called spiritual materialism. It's like all of a sudden your practice becomes a Cartier bracelet. And I personally would rather a Cartier bracelet than using my meditation practice that way, right? So, all of a sudden, just because you've entered some realm which for maybe incarnations you've been wanting to find, you may have been wandering around looking for some sort of peace and some sort of experience of expansion. And so you find it, and then the next trap is that trap, right? Which then becomes something that, you're wearing around and kind of using to be on a superiority trip. But, what are we teaching today? Yogic beauty secrets. Okay. So, this is something that I think is really important. And one of the reasons I think it's important is because when one woman can change the face of the destiny of human history. And there's many who have. Mary, the mother of Siddhartha, the mother of all sorts of lamas, the mother of any of these saints and these warriors and these enlightened ones that have come to the earth. One woman has changed the face of the destiny of the earth. We have that power as women. So when one woman decides that she's not going to prescribe to the neurotic, fear, anxiety, run around propaganda machine of the experience of going through time and space, which is otherwise known as aging, then you take so many with you. Just by that decision, you're just not going to go there. And you're going to start to pave a new way. And it's huge in Southern California. We're trailblazers, you know? Because when I was thinking about this, because we were in Colorado, we were driving back from summer solstice, we were in Colorado at this hot springs, and the women were just like, they didn't care, they were just hanging out, and nobody didn't think one, and it reminded me, because we forget, because if we don't get out of this, and my friend's daughter, who's 17, one of the most beautiful things she said to me ever recently, she said, you're the only woman I've ever been around who doesn't hate her body. And I was like, whoa, that's huge. And so she was talking about, she was around a bunch of Texans, like her mother's family, and literally they all had the kids, and this was, it was like some family summer thing recently, and all the kids were running around, and the kids wanted to go into the pool or something, and she said literally in chorus, every mother, like someone asked one of them, why aren't you going into the pool to play with the kids? And like every mother in like an echo said, oh, I've gained a little weight and I don't want to get my bathing suit, or something like this. And she was telling me this story yesterday. And just how, how heavy it is on the psyche of women that they're not going to play in the pool with their children because there's so much energy around this. So one woman deciding that you're going to maneuver through the time and space continuum differently, it literally changes a whole sphere of influence and what we call in this technology your orbit. Right? So when you connect your axis, which is your internal spiritual strength and your spiritual spring into the source that, is infinite. And then you allow that to start to create a biofeedback with the space of your orbit, so all of the kind of time and space that you maneuver. And we talk about the master's touch, which is that just in a one breath, one look, one smile, one, just you could actually touch someone, but just one small interaction with someone when you're vibrating at a frequency that is not self-loathing and self-hatred, you start to affect a whole kind of stone in the pond, right? It just starts to go and go and go. Yogi Bhajan said the law of the vacuum is there is no vacuum. Which sounds really esoteric, but what it means is this. When one of us pops and says, fuck that, I'm not going to be like that anymore, I'm not going to hate myself, I'm not going to, my mom finally popped out of this, which is not a coincidence, because as Marcia says, we changed the 7 generations on both ends. My mom finally popped out somewhat recently, a couple years back. But she has Parkinson's disease, and I was always really, it was heavy when I would talk to her and she still was talking about losing 10 pounds, even after the Parkinson's. It's like, what does it take? What does it take? And for her, it took me to meditate more, basically. So sometimes it's not linear. But, so when one of us pops, which creates a vacuum, right? So when one of us, in that moment where you're looking in the mirror and you decide, I'm actually not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. Which takes energy. It takes strength. So this is the reason why we do the warrior practices. Because it takes strength to be, you can feel the magnetic pulse of the thing, whatever your thing is. It's so well trodden and it's so easy to pick it back up, and it's so, and if you're tired or if you're any kind of low energy state, it's so easy to go back there, right? So we need as much energy as we possibly can get to, in that moment, first recognize, okay, here I am. And there's a choice now, and that choice is Yogi Bhajan says it takes 2 breaths. So, you know, you want to get crazy, you want to become a zealot, you want to join the cult, maybe 2 breaths. I mean, you know, you really want to get extreme. So, you know, 2 breaths, and you're not going to go there. That's going to give you enough energy to then maneuver that moment and not go the same way that maybe generations, because we're talking lineage now. It's a mother, my grandmother wanted to lose, 10 pounds, my great-grandmother wanted to, and then the grandmother after that was, in the insane asylum because she, talked to trees, or, we're talking about a lineage. It wasn't that long ago that women who gathered like this on an afternoon like this would be in trouble. You got that? Mm-hmm. So it's intercellular, it's in there. So we're really, this is an important time, and many of us have daughters, right? So you're doing a lot of work, and even if you don't have the physical daughter, we have the daughters, so we have to do that. And so, when you make that choice, the energy, the space that's created that you are not going there, then brings everyone up with you. The law of the vacuum is there is no vacuum. So it's going to be filled with your sisters, the other women, right? And just by that one moment, and the moments where it happens, right? You have that, you have to get in your nervous system, because I don't like swimming in the ocean at all. I don't see all of this kind of Southern I'm from not the ocean, and I don't get it. And I don't like it, and I'm not into it. And so yesterday when I was taken to the ocean, I decided, no, this is a spiritual practice. I've lived in Southern California for almost 12 years, so we got to get this together. And so so they were telling me how to go under the wave. This is like child's play for most of you, but for me, this is like this is a practice. And you have to know, it's like, what's going to give you the most energy to be able to maneuver these types of situations, right? And this was actually really a good one for me. So when I got it in my nervous system, how to do it, that will never leave, right? So the moment you have enough energy to get it in your nervous system, so it has to imprint into the nervous system how to make the other choice, then that's with you. That actually even stays with you beyond this physical experience, that imprint, right? And in this technology where we're fiddling around back there is because this is a sound technology, because what we believe is that if you, you don't have to change anything. We're just going to add some energy to the equation. So we're going to add some frequency. Now, when we add, we call those mantras. When we add the sound codes, so they're codes, right? They open up certain frequencies or certain rooms of your consciousness. But you have to have the code to open up the room, right? So when we start to use those codes and we use them again and again and again, they're a higher frequency than my butt is big. Sat Nam is a higher frequency than I hate my big butt. So basically, this one's going to win out. So you don't have to, we don't have to go to therapy. We don't have to, maybe you do have to go to therapy, but whatever. But, what we're doing here is that you then replace that lower frequency with a higher frequency code. It's going to open up a space for you. And so that's what we're doing. We're adding some energy into the equation so that then that energy, that frequency is going to win out. Who's new to Kundalini Yoga today? First time? There's some pointing, there's some waving. Okay. Awesome. I'm so happy about this. This is so great. But you've done other types of yoga because you're at a yoga center, yeah? You've done other types of yoga, everybody? Anybody not ever done any type of yoga? And we're mute. Okay, good. So everybody's done yoga. Okay, so we're in the Kundalini system. Who's done Kundalini yoga remembers the first time you've done it? You ever did it? Almost everyone in the room. Okay. So we get to be here with you guys on that. That's really cool. So one thing